Hello and welcome back to World Talks here on TVP World. I'm Marie Kato. What appeared to be a social media spat between the U.S. ambassador to Poland, Tom Rose, and the Speaker of the Polish lower house, Włodzimierz Czarzasty, has developed into a broader diplomatic fallout between the two countries. What was a simple disagreement over a Nobel Peace Prize nomination could now be testing the model ally status of the Tusk-led government. I'm now joined by Tomasz Płudowski, Associate Professor at Wizja University, who specializes in U.S.-Polish relations and U.S. political communication. Hello, and thank you so much for being with us today.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
So let's start with the respect versus lecture spat between Prime Minister Donald Tusk's response to Ambassador Rose. This in many ways triggered what has become this diplomatic row. Would you agree that it was uncharacteristically sharp for the situation at play?
I would, since the U.S. has actually asked a number of European countries for the support for the nomination for the Nobel Peace Prize, and only in Poland have we seen a disagreement, a loud public disagreement of this sort. So that's highly unusual. Obviously, it's out of line for a diplomat also to make public criticisms of the government and threaten to cut all relations or communications with a high-ranking politician. Marszałek Czarzasty is the second highest-ranking politician in Poland, so it would be difficult. Ambassador would be making his own job highly difficult by cutting ties with the second highest-ranking person in the country. So normally ambassadors work behind the curtains, obviously trying to have an impact and influence public policy, but to do it so loudly, so publicly, in such harsh terms, threatening to cut ties on such a minor issue, really a private issue for the president, who the world agrees seems to be slightly obsessed with this achievement, maybe because of the fact that Barack Obama obtained one and he wants one. But I mean, it's not really, it's out of proportion. The conflict has grown out of proportion for the issue at hand.
So do you think that this signals a fundamental shift in how the current Polish government intends to manage its relationship with the second Trump administration, perhaps moving away from unconditional deference? And how do you think that this might actually impact the alliance Poland has always been proud of and actually also relies on very much?
I think Polish-American relations have been going strong regardless of the government on either side, Republican, Democrat, or conservative, liberal, left-wing in Poland. Let me remind you that in Poland it was the left-wing government and left-wing president that actually had perfect relations with American presidents and introduced Poland into the EU, so we don't have to worry about that. And I think the only unlikely, atypical or new element here is the personality of the current president of the U.S. Also, Tom Rose is not a professional diplomat. He was a journalist before. I don't think the current government wants to change Poland's policy. You could say that the Europeans are trying to go harder on Trump and not to give in to all the threats. We see that with Greenland. Maybe Włodzimierz Czarzasty himself is a bit more outspoken than other Polish politicians. He's left-wing, he's a bit older, he's a former communist, and because of his left-wing values, he might be, which Trump goes after in the U.S., he might be a bit more aggressive, but only in refusing to support Donald Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. I mean, it's not compulsory for every American president to be nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. I mean, normally it's one.
Not many people get one.
Yes, not many people get one. It was unusual for Barack Obama. He probably got one too early. It was sort of an encouragement. Many people criticized that as well. Although based on what he was promising to do, especially after the Bush presidency, it was maybe, just maybe, justified. But I mean, starting wars, hijacking foreign leaders, threatening to take over a piece of ice, as Trump said, on Greenland, which is part of Denmark's territory, and Denmark being a U.S. ally. I mean, these are highly unpeaceful moves. So I think a lot of just stick to facts. I mean, only I think Latvia and Hungary, of all the countries that the U.S. approached in Europe for the nomination, has agreed. So I don't think that the refusal was maybe it has the American ambassador is helping the conservatives in Poland make an issue of
well, there is some
internal political issue.
There has been a thread, or perhaps a narrative that has been peddled a little bit in Polish media, that perhaps this was done in coordination with the Polish opposition. Do you think that that is possible?
I think it's highly possible, because what we're seeing is kind of a change of focus onto Włodzimierz Czarzasty and his communist past, which was obviously a long time ago, and before '89. And currently, you see the government and the opposition, I mean, for a long time now, kind of exchanging the accusation of being working in the interest of Russia currently as a hot potato. So both sides are doing that. But if you actually listen carefully to what both sides do, how they operate with Russia, or what they say, the current opposition in Poland, the conservatives, very rarely accuse Russia of anything. They have hardly done anything about the famous airplane crash. And they usually, when they criticize the neighbors, they focus on the West. They focus on Germany. They keep repeating that the West is the European Union, and Germany in particular is a threat to Poland, even as Russia is bombing Ukraine. So I think this is a way of turning this minor personal Trump issue into an internal political issue between the conservatives and the current government. It's a way of attacking the current government and saying that it's anti-American.
So just to recap, you think that there is some likelihood that this theater that we have witnessed on social media could be coordinated between the U.S. ambassador to Poland and the Polish opposition?
I think so, because there's a lot of statements, even in the papers, saying that we don't know to what extent they are true, but that Peace has approached, for example, PSL, a minor farmers' party in the part of the former coalition, saying that the U.S. wants PSL to leave the current government and form a right-wing government, and they would have better relations with the U.S. So I think most of these issues have to be looked upon in terms of not Trump's support for Trump's Nobel Peace Prize, but as a way of bringing down the current government.
Okay, I just wanted to take
them as pro-Russian and anti-American.
Sure. I just wanted to take a look at the bigger picture. Just going back to Włodzimierz Czarzasty for a moment, he has argued that Donald Trump's foreign policy is transactional and destabilizing to NATO, but Poland is currently spending record amounts on U.S. defense equipment. Why would a senior Polish leader choose this moment to vocalize such a high-risk critique at this time of heightened tensions?
Yes, I mean, it is true that he might have, that he was the trigger. I mean, you could accuse both Ambassador Rose and Włodzimierz Czarzasty of not choosing their words very carefully, especially for a professional diplomat. I mean, they have to choose their words carefully. Although Tom Rose is not one. Włodzimierz Czarzasty is a seasoned politician, but obviously he could have been more careful with his statements. I think he wants to. I mean, he's made it clear that he's going to be a hardliner against the current president, and if the current president is going to block government policies or bills, he's going to do the same to presidential proposals. So I think he's going to be the one politician in the current coalition that is going to be voicing hardline policies or stands, and it's easier for him because he's left wing, and left wing support in Poland is only 10%.
And just as we wrap up, where does Warsaw go from here? The foreign minister and deputy prime minister Radosław Sikorski, he said at a press conference as he was wrapping up his visit in the US that he's going to come back and get to the bottom of this, see if the comments made by Tom Rose were his personal ones. He probably should do the same to Włodzimierz Czarzasty. But where does Warsaw go from here? How do they fix the situation?
I think they are trying to calm down the situation, and high representatives of the Polish government, other than Czarzasty, are saying that feuds like these happen between friends and there's no reason for war, and we're going to continue as we have, regardless of whoever is in power, and we don't have to worry about Polish-American cooperation because it's going strong. And if anything, I think that the Donald Trump government or administration is putting a strain on those relations. And obviously there's a larger issue of European Union American relations, and Donald Trump seems to be intent on weakening the European Union, and he prefers, on the one hand, he has this value agenda. He seems to think that Europe is going too much to the left on values especially, but he also wants to break down the European Union, and he prefers to deal bilaterally with individual countries because he can exert more pressure. And this is the main probably challenge for Europe, and also the main challenge for Poland, to how to behave between how to behave between challenges from both European Union and the United States, because we want to be part of both, and both are part of the NATO alliance. So this is, I think the challenge comes more from Trump than from Czarzasty refusal to nominate Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize.
Okay. Tomasz Płudowski, Associate Professor at Wizja University. Thank you so much for a very interesting conversation.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap for World Talks. Thanks so much for being with us, and keep yourselves updated with TVP World. Goodbye.